In San Francisco, we have got the ultimate whack-a-mole game going on, right? San Francisco's bust the homeless out of town strategy now catching on with other California cities. So you've got cities that, you got like Sacramento looking down at San Francisco going, hey, we could put our homeless on a bus too. We'll just get them away. Just get them away. It's the ultimate whack-a-mole, right? Doesn't really solve the problem, but it solves the problem for that city because the homeless have gone away. Let's get into it. How is this actually working? Here we go.
Whatever it takes to get people on the right path, that's what we need to do.
Or whatever it takes to get somebody on a bus and out of San Francisco. That's what we'll do.
Ordering city officials to offer homeless a one-way bus ticket out of town. Breed said the number of homeless people moving to San Francisco from other states and counties has grown from 28% in 2019 to 40% of the total homeless population in 2024. Specifically, the order mandates all city and contracted staff who engage with homeless must offer relocation as the first option before offering city services. Breed wrote in the order, San Francisco will always lead with compassion, but we cannot allow our compassion to be taken advantage of. She said,
I always talk about misguided compassion, right? Now they're using compassion. But we actually have to balance that compassion with getting people on a bus and away.
This allows individuals the choice to reunite with support networks before accessing other city services or facing the consequences of refusing care.
What it takes is support. What it takes is money. What it takes is housing. What it takes is an opportunity at a second chance where you are not judged.
The mayor's new executive order marks a shift from how San Francisco currently handles its homeless population. The change in strategy follows a June 28th Supreme Court ruling that gave city officials more power to crack down on people living on public streets and in parks. San Francisco officials are also ramping up the number of citations and arrests against homeless people who refuse to move indoors. Homeless advocates and other critics have slammed street sweeps, arguing they're ineffective. Breed's new directive is her latest effort to clean up the streets of San Francisco.
Dear Governor, what the F? No more sweeps. It's quite a sign. Sleeping is not a crime. No, but doing fentanyl and stealing and sex trafficking and all the craziness that goes on in the homeless encampments, those are crimes. Sleeping? Yeah. Nobody's complaining about you sleeping peacefully on the sidewalk. If that was just what was going on, nobody would care. And if you got up and, cleaned your area and didn't have human feces, urine, drugs, stolen goods, purchase of stolen goods, selling stolen goods, all happening in these communities, nobody would care. But those are the crimes, right? Those are the crimes that city officials are trying to push back on.
Effective. Breed's new directive is her latest effort to clean up the streets of San Francisco, reduce crime, and address the overdose crisis. She is in the middle of a tough re-election fight and has taken a much more aggressive approach to those problems.
So a few other California cities, they are duplicating San Francisco's tactic to merely hand the homeless a one-way bus ticket out of town, but not because it's proven to be a particularly effective strategy. No, because it doesn't really solve the problem, does it? No. But more because it's just cheap and easy. Hey, that's a really good plan. Get on the bus, Gus. Get out of town. Just go. Go, go, go. Just don't be here. Because what you've got going on, and I am sure of this. Now, London Breed needed to basically clean up the optics of her town anyway, because San Francisco is just such... when you've got a poop emoji map that everybody talks about, J.D. Vance talked about in the vice presidential debate, when you've got that going on in your town, that's when you know things have kind of hit an all-time low. Never mind poop on the elevators, right? Union Square, that whole deal. It's just like, what's happening? Oh, it's just San Francisco. Because you got a whole bunch of people that are whacked out of their mind on drugs, and they're also mentally unstable. So you're trying to get these people out of town. So you got London Breed trying to clean things up because she wants to get reelected. Now, more importantly, you've got Gavin Newsom, who I believe is going to run for president in 2028. And if California continues to look the way that it does, it's not going to be easy for him to tout, hey, look at California. Looking good, folks. No, the Golden State, more the dark brown state, if you know what I'm saying, right? Just, yeah. San Francisco's strategy to put a dent in the homeless population by just handing unsheltered people a one-way bus ticket out of town has been around for about 20 years. You know what? We've been hearing of this for years and years and years. And one of the things that I've always heard about is, hey, Montana just sent a homeless person with a one-way bus ticket to Portland. Montana just, sent their homeless people to Seattle. And that's how so many of these people end up here. They're not from these communities. They get bussed in, they get flown in, they get whatever in, because it's that whack-a-mole, right? Well, if they're not here, out of sight, out of mind. One shelter resident described it to the Examiner in 2016 as the get your ass out of here program. That's what it is, right? Here's a one-way ticket. Where would you like to go? Anywhere but here is available to you. But the San Francisco Board of Supervisors expanded the program earlier this year, and then Mayor London Breed made it a centerpiece of her major encampment crackdown this summer. Breed's policy shift this past summer, rather controversially, was to offer the bus ticket out of town before offering the person a shelter bed. Now, most of these people are not going to be able to go home because they have cut off any relationships they've had with people. That is why they're living on the street. That is why they are perpetually homeless, because this is the lifestyle that they choose. So for them, it's not a matter of wanting to go home and going back to a support system. They don't have, number one, a home other than the streets. And number two, nobody back home wants to take them. Prime example of that was Steve Irwin in Seattle. He was the guy that was digging for gold, digging for diamonds in Dr. Jose Rizal Park in Seattle, in the downtown core. And his mom hadn't had any contact with Steve, who's like 41 or 42. Mom hadn't had any contact with Steve for years and years. I think it was like 5 years, something like that. She didn't even know if he was alive. Then all of a sudden, somebody said, hey, I think your boy Steve was on this live stream. And it was my live stream with Andrea Suarez and Jeremy Harris of Como. And, a conversation, I can't remember if it was Andrea or Jeremy Harris was talking with the mom, and the mom was basically like, yeah, we don't want him back. We don't want him back. We're in that kind of tough love scenario where unless he gets his life squared away, unless he gets off the drugs, we don't want him back because he has burned every single bridge and he has abused all of his relationships with his family members, and folks don't want him back. So this notion that you can give somebody a bus ticket out of town and that's going to solve the problem, no, it's not happening. So maybe somebody's got, some problems with Johnny Law in the city they're in. Oh, a bus ticket? You betcha. All right, let's go to LA. Let's go to Seattle. Let's go to Portland. Let's just go away, right? And so it's the whack-a-mole game where you're just literally moving people around. Just moving people around. Doesn't solve the issue at all. Breed's encampment crackdown may have saved her politically, but the idea of just handing the homeless a one-way ticket out of town seems to be catching on among other California big city mayors. Cal Matters reports that multiple other California cities are now trying the program to bus unsheltered people out of town. Reconnecting people living on the streets with family members or loved ones who want to care for them is just common sense. That is masking the issue as if this is a thing. It's not a thing. It's not because they can't afford a bus ticket back home. They spend more money in drugs in a few days than they ever would on a bus ticket. You know what I mean? It's the least expensive, most impactful program we could launch. It's the cheapest and most effective as far as moving a body out of your district, out of your town, out of your city. That's all you're doing. You're just playing whack-a-mole because some other city is going to ship one in. We mentioned San Jose, as Cal Matters notes that the city has budgeted $200,000 to start their own busing program. And this is just absurd. Why don't we put that money towards treatment? Why don't we put that money towards detox? Why don't we put that money towards actually getting these people to the help that they want instead of just putting them on a bus and running them around in circles? Well, because we don't have a real commitment to getting people the help that they need. We just want to make things optically look better. And yes, $200 is darn cheap for a government program. Cal Matters adds the Sacramento County had a similar program, but discontinued it because it was so little used. There you go. Nobody wants to take the bus, Gus. Get out of town. They just don't. City of LA does not have a formal busing program, but some nonprofits in that city run their own, shipping a few hundred people out of town per year. Okay, so California's got what? 75,000 homeless people? Something like that. I mean, it's an entire good-sized city of homeless folks. You're not going to bus anybody in significant numbers out of anywhere, right? Because California's got that weather. Florida has a massive homeless population because, you can live in extreme heat. You can do that, and then you got the spring and you got the fall where it cools down a little bit. But here, I'm down in Oklahoma City right now. Very few homeless here because it is a tough go. Blazing hot in the summer. Then you got to dodge those tornadoes. And then in the winter, it is cold. When I got down here, it was 77 degrees out. That was on Sunday. Next day, it was in the 30s with the wind chill in the 20s early in the day. So you got these massive changes because, the weather just carries across the plains and boom, runs right over the top of Oklahoma. So this is not a conducive area to homelessness. But California, Washington, pretty mild climate. Oregon, pretty mild climate. Yeah, it rains a lot, but got tents. They just go into REI and steal a tent, right? Or they get one handed to them. Here you go. Here's your tent. Here's your blanket. Here's your hot cocoa. Have a nice fentanyl run. But this goes both ways, the article goes on to say, as Cal Matters points out. Cities in other states like Texas also bus their own unhoused people to California. Hey, you want to go to California? California dreamer? You want to go to California? Okay, here you go. So the strategy may be a wash in the long run. That's what I'm saying. With just as many incoming as outgoing. You're just playing whack-a-mole. You're playing whack-a-mole because you're not willing to put the work in on what it's going to take to get these people squared away. And you know what? I don't think a lot of these people you can square them away. I think they want to keep doing drugs till they die, or they don't have the mental capability of actually making a decision that puts them in a position where they can get sober and become, contributing members of society. This is it's not a thing. But instead, let's just put them on a bus. Should be fine. She'll work out great. It's a very short-term solution for a massive, big picture problem. Cal Matters crunches the numbers since Reed ramped up the busing program and found that 151 people have taken up the offer since the August encampment crackdown. All 151. How many of those people have come back? It's a stat I would like to know. Publication notes that 29 of them went to other California cities, just shuffling them around the Golden State. And a small handful went to various other states like Texas, Florida, and Georgia. Interesting, right? Texas and Florida. I would not want to be homeless in Texas. Florida, tough in the summer there. In Georgia, okay. I wouldn't want to be homeless in Georgia. No, hard no-go. Send me to Portland, right? Send me to Portland. Send me to Seattle. Let me get up to Freattle. But it's also pretty far away from a lot of folks' comfort zones. Now, where's Seattle again? Where is it? But in true San Francisco fashion, according to Cal Matters, due to a data processing area, the city couldn't provide information on where 34 people went. It's like California just losing $29 billion they spent on the homeless issue. Where'd that money go? Not really sure. Don't really keep accountability. It's not going on. So at the end of the day, you're literally just shuffling people around. Hey, it's great policy. And the bottom line is there is no easy solution for this problem. In the areas that have massive homelessness, that's not going away anytime soon because you can't put that genie back in the bottle. You just can't. These are human beings you're dealing with. And you can't just, let's just put them on an island, lock them away. Can't do that. That's a hard no-go. And in these states and in these cities where homelessness is so prevalent, they're not involuntarily, putting somebody away. They're not, they're trying to go down these roads of, we're just going to arrest them. We're going to bust them out. We're going to arrest them. All of this stuff. None of that's ultimately going to work till you get these people on more of a path of being sober or dealing with their mental health issues, which is probably why they started doing drugs in the first place. People don't want to look at that. They just want to say, we're so compassionate. We're just going to let them do all the drugs out in the tents that they want to do and it should be fine. Well, how's that working out for you? How's that working out for California? How's that working out for London Breed? How's that working out for Gavin Newsom? Not so good, right? Not so good. And this is the ongoing problem that you can't sweep under the rug. In states where this isn't an issue the way that it is in California or Washington or Oregon, it's a wildly different story. It's a wildly different story. They have the resources to kind of keep this under control. I don't know about Florida. I hear mixed things on Florida. I haven't been to Florida in quite a few years. And each city basically has its own homeless and has its own kind of set of, problems that go along with that. But here on the West Coast, man, it is a fentanyl related issue, right? It's a fentanyl related issue. It's a hard narcotic that just absolutely destroys their minds. And putting somebody on a bus, I'm going to fix that. But, for politicians, they take the easy way out. Hey, is this going to have a positive impact? Look at my numbers dropping. I'm cleaning up the city. Not so much. Just playing whack-a-mole. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.